How does Scott Frost lose that game?
That man snake bitten, I guess. I don't know.
On today's Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis recap Week 2 games with their new segment called Around the Territories. The OCP also discusses Dr. Adams' strictly for entertainment purposes picks, along with a preview of Week 3 of the college football season. Welcome to today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, dusting off old defunct wrestling organizations, the Tommy Rich, to my Greg the Hammer Valentine in the American Wrestling Federation, the AWF, which Mike has no clue about because they use the round system. Yeah, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, yeah, I dusted that one off. I don't know why I was thinking about. I think it was because of Tito Santana. He was one of the AWF champions, and they used a round system. So obviously it didn't work because you're sitting there staring at me. So how are you doing this morning, sir?
Yeah, that wasn't even a blip on my radar screen. That wasn't even a blip. Good morning, good morning.
Yeah, so the big feud for the title in like the mid 90s was Tito Santana versus Cowboy Bob Orton. And yeah, that was the big title. I think Sergeant Slaughter hung around there for a little bit too. But again, anyway, good to see you for our Throwdown Thursday. And we are going to cover week 2 of the college football season. So in segment 1, I am calling it Around the Territories. I really enjoyed how we did that last week. So let's keep that going. And in segment 2, we're going to talk about some off-field issues. And in segment 3, strictly for entertainment purposes only. And some of y'all need to get better because you're costing me money. But that's another story. So, Coach, shockingly enough, we're going to start with the ACC Around the Territories. Clemson won, and believe it or not, Miami, NC State, and Wake Forest are all 2-0. Any thoughts about?
And they beating the SEC too.
Any thoughts about the ACC this morning, sir?
The ACC beat SEC teams.
Yes,
that was a big topic of conversation in one of my group chats.
All right, so we're going to move to the American, and I'm just going to say it now. The conference is done after week 2 because SMU is the only undefeated team of note. Yeah. Love you, Tulane, but no, you're not getting a lot of energy from the OCP. Any thoughts as Houston has fallen, and there will be no extra love given to the American?
I'm sure you were shocked that they fell.
Well, we'll talk about that in segment 3. Money line pick. That was the upset of the week, and I'm the only one upset. So we're going to move to the Big Ten. Ohio State's trying to win that thing. Hawaii covered the 50-plus spread against Michigan. How long before they ice Scott Frost? Iowa scored 7 points again this week. And Michigan State, Maryland, Penn State, Minnesota, and yes, Rutgers and Indiana are all 2-0. What are your thoughts on the Big Ten, my friend?
It's the Ohio State thing again. You know how it is. I mean, every year, Ohio State and Michigan, one of the two are always preseason ranked high, so they can stay relevant by most media outlets. So, but it's still Big Ten football.
How does Scott Frost lose that game?
That man snake bitten, I guess. I don't know. Well, you wouldn't think they would have, but
you can't lose that one. as I like to say, Mike, I don't know who you can lose to, but I know who you can't, and you can't lose to. I think they lost to Georgia State. I think they lost to Georgia State or something like that.
You can't do that.
Why is Iowa only scoring 7 points a week?
Because it's Iowa. They forgot there's athletes play football now. So, they still stuck. Kirk Ferentz still stuck back in the, I don't even want to say it.
Well, I'll tell you what's
90s.
not stuck. His bank account, because remember last year he got that extension.
He got a big check.
So, all right, Big 12. We're going to the Big 12. Great game for Texas, but you still lost. And don't let University of Texas San Antonio get you next week. Don't let it happen. Baylor blew it with the loss to BYU, and a little mad at BYU, but we'll worry about that later. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State will cancel each other out, so I will have their names out until one of them beats the other. And Mike, Kansas is 2-0, baby. Kansas is 2-0.
So is Kentucky.
Now, again, Kentucky is not on the strictly for entertainment purposes list. And Kansas, all you had to do was win 2.5, and we win, and they're already 2-0. So I think I can cash that ticket pretty soon. Any thoughts around the Big 12, sir?
Nope. Big 12 is always the Big 12. I think I posted yesterday, I'd rather watch 11 ants play 11 snails than watch Big 12 or pack, whatever that is, whack or pack football.
I did see that post, sir. All right. So the independents. There's 2 independents we will focus on. Marcus Freeman, we like you. I think you're a phenomenal person, human being, and I'm happy you got the Notre Dame job.
So long.
But my friend, you cannot lose to Marshall at home.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I called Jake, sent him a message. Shout out to Jake, because you family. And I said, I need your thoughts because we got a show to do. And he sent me a meme with Homer Simpson fading back into the bush. That was his reaction, and I said that was perfect, man. So, Notre Dame's done.
I hope he's renting.
See, Mike, come on.
I'm being honest.
He's 0-3 right now. He lost the bowl game last year.
I hope he's renting.
Lost to Ohio State. And the bowl game loss and the Ohio State loss, man, those are clean losses. Hey, it happened. But you
could take the Ohio State loss. I can't take Marshall though. I'm sorry.
And unfortunately, for the next at least 1 week, we have to keep an eye on BYU because they're undefeated.
And I ain't watching them.
You know the rules about undefeated teams. But the fact that I'm depending on Oregon next week to take care of this lets you know where we are. But at some point, BYU will get their comeuppance, to use a wrestling phrase. So let's move to the SEC, my friend. We are there. So Alabama did what Ric Flair used to do in Texas when we did have the territories. It made me think about it. He would fight, and the hometown hero would get the crowd going, thinking they're going to win the world's title. And then he cheats, rolls out of the ring, and get out of here. And I swear that's what Alabama did. I'm at KJ's game, Hale Maplewood, and I'm looking at the score, and I'm like, Texas is up. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, Mike, Texas is up. Texas is up. Alabama scores. Texas scores. And then with 15 seconds left, Alabama kicks a field goal. And I cheer at the wrong time at the football game because I cheered really after an interception. But I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. It's strictly for entertainment purposes only. So before we move on to the rest of the conference, any thoughts about Alabama versus Texas?
Seems like Alabama's woes and how they started the season last year. Again, they can't run the football properly when they need to get a yard or two, and they're definitely going to have to shore that up. And if you recall from last season, it actually cost them a national championship. So if they don't improve in that quick enough, they're going to be repeating the same thing. But it's not like they're playing Marshall, so let's not,
You can't lose to Marshall.
Yeah, it's not like they lost to Marshall, so Saban's still on track.
And next in the SEC, we told you about Jimbo. We told you about Jimbo last year. We told you about Jimbo in the beginning of the season, and I put my money where my mouth is. I took Texas A&M under 8.5. Now, I didn't think it would be App State. I didn't think it would be them. Well, I'll take the loss because it's going to help us.
He said
But,
they didn't think it'd be App State, but
Again, the new T-shirt is, I don't know who you can lose to, but you can't lose to App
them.
State
No,
in
you
College
can't.
Station.
No,
You can't lose to the team from Boone, North Carolina.
you rank 6 in the nation.
No, you can't do it.
Mm-mm.
All right. Georgia is Georgia, so we're going to keep moving on. And you jumped the gun, but that's okay. Big win for Kentucky over Florida. Unfortunately, I picked Florida. Money line, of course. Hey, what are we going to do? Congratulations to Kentucky. Well-deserved win. And heads up, Arkansas, Tennessee, and your boy Lane at Ole Miss are all 2-0.
Yeah, they ain't playing nobody, though.
Hey, Tennessee beat Pittsburgh, and
Saw
they're
that.
defending ACC. Are they the Atlantic or the Coastal?
And you telling me? Where's point 5 at? I don't know where
Nice
point
touchdown
5
for
at.
point 5 yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, it was. Great catch.
All right, we're going to go to the Pac-12, and I'm not sold on USC, but you know the rules. They're undefeated, and they're in the top whatever. So
Next
until somebody
conference.
beats them, we gotta have a conversation. But Utah's done, and we're just watching the weekly total because I took the over 10 on the season. And in a shocker, Washington State beat Wisconsin at Wisconsin.
Shocker to who?
Come on, man. It's Washington State. Remember, they had all the problems
It's
with
Wisconsin.
the COVID, and they got Big Ten money, man. They got
okay.
You can't be losing to Washington State.
All right. Okay. All right.
All right. So before we close out around the territories, any other things catch your eye this week in college football, sir?
Wake Forest beating Vanderbilt the way they did, pretty handedly, man. Pretty handedly. Wake Forest, and they competed last week as well. So I'm going to keep an eye on Wake Forest. I'm also going to keep an eye on Miami. We're going to check on Miami.
Yes.
Miami did a pretty good job. I'm not going, I'm concerned about Clemson. Yeah, they won. No, seriously, they won by 23, but the old Clemson would have beat Furman by 60. So I'm a little concerned about that, but that's it.
All right. So on that, we'll be right back after this short break.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler and Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast and in segment 2. We will talk about some off the field things with Clemson and the Big 12. So pay the man, Mike. Pay the man. Clemson's coach, Dabo Swinney, agreed to a new 10-year, $115 million contract, the largest college football coaching contract in total compensation. This new enhanced deal runs through the 2031 football season, averages $11.5 million. Over the length of the contract, he's going to get paid a heck of a lot of money. So if you recall, Saban just got his new deal, and Saban is like 70, 71 years old. So Saban makes an average of 11.7. In July, Georgia's coach Kirby Smart got a 10-year, $112.5 million contract. And of course, Michigan State's coach
Last year.
stole, what was it, Mel?
Mel got all that.
Stole 90 million, so he ain't going nowhere. So here's the deal about Dabo's contract, though. According to his contract, if he leaves to become the Alabama head coach in 2022, he would owe a $9 million buyout. That number is $6 million if he leaves for another college team. He would owe nothing if he leaves for an NFL head coaching job. I don't know if that's going to happen. And the buyout number decreases every year of the deal. If Clemson fires Sweeney without cause, they would owe him $64 million in 22-23, $60 million in 24-25, and $57 million in 26. That's called security. Okay. Among the contract incentives, you need incentives with this contract. Clemson gives him an extra $150,000 for a CFP appearance. If he makes it to the semifinals, he gets an additional $50,000, and if he makes it to the finals, he gets additional $50,000. And if he wins the championship, he gets an extra $100,000. He gets $50,000 for winning the ACC championship, and yeah. What do you think about Dabo's new deal?
It's crazy, huh? You signed a $115 million contract and you still getting $150,000 bonuses. $50,000 bonuses.
Hey, he won the ACC. Here's some extra money.
So why is if he leaves become Alabama's head coach? I don't understand.
Didn't he go to Alabama?
But you got to put that in the clause, and I mean, you should worry as a university, or if that's what's on your mind, that's the only thing on your mind right now.
Yeah, $9 million for Alabama.
If he goes to Alabama,
$6 million if he goes somewhere.
That's crazy.
All right. Well, the Big 12, they're trying to make some moves. So the Big 12 commissioner Brett Yormark is trying to expand. Speaking last week to a future Big 12 member in Cincinnati, he told reporters that the league would be interested in adding members from the Pacific time zone. The new commissioner is trying to take a bold approach, and I quote, "The Big 12 is open for business." He added that on the Big 12's wish list is, and I want you to try to find me one, Mike, a program that has national recognition, one that competes at the highest level in basketball and football, stands for the right things, and is a good culture fit for the Big 12. Who fits that mold, Mike? Anybody you can think of that's maybe in the Pac-12, maybe in another conference that could be willing to move? Sounds like Oregon to me. I don't know about you, because Oregon's good in football and Oregon's pretty good in basketball.
Arizona,
yeah. Well, they're not good at football, but their basketball team can more than cover whatever deficiencies the football program
that's about it.
Has.
Arizona, the only school I see can do that. So it is, yeah. That's
Stanford?
Crazy. Please. Stanford.
Maybe San Diego State.
Stanford.
They're good in basketball, and San Diego State doesn't have the worst football team in the country.
San Diego State haven't been good in football since Marshall Faulk left.
Yeah, touche. All right, well, fans, we're going to take a break now because segment 3 is strictly for entertainment purposes only, and quite frankly, that's all I'm very excited about talking about every weekend to see how the picks did. We'll be right back after this break.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA Save Project's academic monitoring service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. We talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only, so I need my partner's help on this one. The new OCP Top 5, and remember, our focus is always on the college football playoff.
Mhm.
I got Georgia as number 1 because they're being Georgia and Alabama was not being Alabama. I have Ohio State as number 2 because they're still winning. I have Alabama as 3 because that was a poor performance. I'm sure next week Alabama would be 2, but that was a poor performance. Clemson's 4, it doesn't matter because it's really a 3-team race. Oklahoma's 5 because you got to have a Big 12 rep. And USC is on the outside looking in. BYU is on the outside looking in. And for its and giggles, Michigan's on the outside looking in. But none of those 3 teams are going to matter. But we just got to have some representation. Any thoughts on the top 5, sir?
No new thoughts on the top 5. We're going to see what happens this week. I'm looking to see some quarterback play improve that might make some changes in there. It's a little dicey up under the center in some of these places, except maybe Alabama and Georgia might have the best 2.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Notre Dame's quarterback got hurt yesterday, and let's just say Clemson's quarterback is underperforming. The DJ kid is not performing as well as he should, and they're supposedly have some hotshot kid that's I think like a true freshman or something. Don't give him a lot of minutes because then you might have the Hurts situation.
Yeah, he might transfer.
He just might. All right, so picks of the week. Last week we went 2 and 3, 40%, down $11.80. This week, 2 and 3, down $11.80. And Mike, I got to tell you, Muff laughed just a little too loud last night as Kentucky beat Florida. And she said, "So you lost $10, huh?" It's not fair. So here was the. Stop that, not you too.
I'm sorry, man.
Here was the rundown of games. Virginia Tech covered 2.5. So I'm 2-0 in games with the spread because I keep my own stats and I share them. Duke and Northwestern went under 58.5. And I'm 2-0 with the over-under. So, hey, so far so good with that. Now, West Virginia lost to Kansas, but I'm really not mad at that because I do have Kansas over 2.5 wins. And it looks like, unless they go on a Titanic fall, that more likely than not will happen. So, okay, I had WVU and USC on a 2-play, but I'm 0-2 on my 2 plays because there's always some team that's supposed to win lets me down. The 3-play I had, Mike, money line, of course. Bama, Arkansas, Florida. Well, as you know, and you've got to be paying attention to Kentucky. I didn't pick Kentucky because their running back was out, and he's supposed to be really, really good. So I'm like, all right, Florida should be able to put 8 in the box, blah, blah, blah. Nope. And the upset pick of the week was Houston over Texas Tech, and Houston lost in overtime. So I'm down again, but that's okay. It's only 23-60 thus far this season. And next week is going to be my week. And here's some games to watch, sir. Tell me what you care about. Georgia, South Carolina. Is that something you're going to watch?
No, Georgia. Georgia wins that easily.
But I like South Carolina and
Yeah,
the Spencer Rattler and the
Easily.
NFL. Okay.
Georgia wins that easy.
We're going to dust off this rivalry. Oklahoma against Nebraska. What are we going to see? Is this Scott Frost's last game as the head coach of Nebraska?
It could be.
Hey, we don't ever wish any of that.
No.
But you're about to play a long time rival.
Yeah,
And I think they're going to play at Nebraska.
So this could save his job, but we're gonna see. I don't know, bro.
It's going to be a long week. We're watching Kansas against Houston. Come on, I got to get you behind Kansas. They just need one more win.
Cause this
One
Project
more win.
Cincinnati all over again. Kansas ain't.
Trying to get the money, baby. 3
That's
wins.
all. But still.
So North Carolina A&T is playing Duke next week. I don't think Duke should lose to North Carolina.
I don't
A&T.
think they should, but A&T ain't bad.
They ain't bad.
A&T is not bad.
All right. Texas Tech against North Carolina State.
Texas Tech, North Carolina State. Texas Tech. I haven't seen them play yet. You know what I mean? I haven't seen them play, but I did see North Carolina State. Yeah,
well, I saw Texas Tech play yesterday for all the wrong reasons. Houston let me down, but that's another story.
So I'll take Texas Tech over this. I'll take Texas Tech.
Miami is playing Texas A&M. They're going to College Station, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the one I thought was going to be it.
That's the one, Miami. I got Miami in that. Your boy ready to jump off the ledge now.
Well, I'm going to check that. I'm going to check the line out a little later this week. San Diego State's playing Utah.
Pick them. Pick them.
Did you say pick 'em?
Yeah, pick them.
Pick 'em. All right, UTSA versus Texas, and now that was the one I thought Texas, would get that hiccup, but they did play very well against Alabama. Steve Sarkisian being a former Nick Saban assistant, all of those things came together. This is called a classic letdown game. You have been a coach who've played a rival and all the energy there, and then insert school comes in the next game and everybody's playing like trash. Okay, so I'm going to look at the line on that one because that's got my eye. Because I've been there. I've been there as a coach. It's like, man, we're trying to keep an even keel, but yeah, that was a hell of an atmosphere. And now you're playing, insert school with 7 people in the gym, and the guys are looking at you like,
I ain't doing it.
All right, SMU coming to town to take on the Terps. So this is Locke's first game that he can garner a little bit extra attention because SMU's coming in 2-0. They got a little buzz. What do you think, man?
It's going to be a good one. If Maryland's secondary plays well, I think they have a chance to win this. I was a little concerned watching the first game. Couldn't even see yesterday's game, which we got to talk about that, how you can't have
it wasn't on anything?
It wasn't on nothing.
Because I know they played Charlotte, and I know they won. They handled their business.
Yeah, but somebody posted on Twitter, like some site supposedly you was able to get it, but they wasn't on anything. Wow. Anything. And usually that happened. I would go to when my son was there, when we would go out to Looney's and all the way out in Montgomery. Huh?
Fulton.
Yeah, in Fulton, Maryland. That's where we would go. We would go to Looney's to watch the game because they always televise the Maryland's games. But I thought we was past 2012 ways. You know what I mean? That was 10 years ago.
All right. And then the final game that I'm peeking at, so I'll be pulling my bets from one of these games, BYU versus Oregon. Any thoughts, sir? Because
BYU lose forever. I don't even want to talk. They're going to come out denying that stuff happened at that volleyball game. I hope they lose forever.
All right. So look for my picks on Saturday morning, fans. Yes.
I'm choosing the devil over BYU.
Okay, I'm going to move on to our season-long win totals before we wrap up. Alabama over 11.5, and we've got 2 wins thus far. Georgia over 11, we got 2. Houston over 9.5, we got 1. Kansas over 2.5, and we got 2. We're 1 away from Kansas doing the thing, baby, doing the thing. We have NC State over 8.5, and they're got 2 wins right now. We've got Nebraska under 7.5, and they only have 1 win, and I'm not seeing one coming next week. So, all right. We have Notre Dame over 8.5. Ouch. And we have Penn State over 8.5. Penn State's got 2 wins going on. We've got Texas A&M under 8.5. Only 1 win thus far, and let's see what happens next week. South Carolina over 6.5. 1 win so far, and Mike does not see the second win coming next week against Georgia.
Not at all.
Utah over 9 with 1 big win. Clemson over 10.5 with 2 big wins, and Ohio State over 11 with 2 wins thus far. So, hey, that's why they're called season-long win totals. So, Coach, before we wrap up, anything to say before we leave our audience with another great Throw Down Thursday episode?
No, nothing great to say. I do want to thank everybody for listening, and glad to be back in the swing of things with football, college, professional. We in it now. It's a good time of year, one of the best times of year.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Much appreciated. And on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.